Back to serve. Getting Ennis on the initial swing, and the first point of the day goes to Virginia.
And they're going to get her started early, knowing that she's going to be the player to watch on Wake Forest's side of the net. They're going to put up a solid block in front of her, so finding a way to get her in routine early.
317 total kills, and there's an ace from Booth.
And that ball just dropped. That was such a clean serve, dropping right in front of the passer line.
And something to keep track of in this match is Virginia started last match really well in the first two sets, trying to get a consistent full match put together as long from Booth there for a service error. We'll switch sides. And Emma Farrell out of Norcross, Georgia. Virginia keeping the volley going. Dode finding the confidence to go from the middle.
And when you put up numbers like that, you know that you have practiced that, and that's what you want to show in a match. And so starting off early with this confidence, very smart IQ, knowing when to attack that ball.
She's got 42 kills this entire year, and 8 of those came on Friday. Block at the net, but goes down for Wake Forest. That was a first swing from Legita. Came from Chicago State, but originally from Poland. Ryan Baker. Dode. Still alive. Now for the Cavaliers. Ennis has to send it. Not the best swing, but it falls.
And sometimes that's what you need. You need to find what works. You need to find, if you're a little off speed, how can I better that third contact? And that's what you're seeing. You're off pace, taking a good time to approach to it, and it works.
Working well for her as of late. 21 kills against NC State last time out. That one soars long, so a 1-point match. Hannah Scott checks in. Legita. First serve. No good there. Goes off the top of the net. That is point right back to Virginia. Holding on to a steady lead here early. Getting that first point and sticking with it. Crawford sending it from the back. Dean to White. Stopped at the net, and the block gives a point to Wake Forest.
And one thing Wake Forest is really good at is their defense. They've been putting up the blocking numbers. They've been putting up those dig numbers. So doing a great job working hard to close that seam.
Sanaa Williams, transfer from Mississippi State, getting her first serve, but the point goes to Virginia. Legita just couldn't reach for it.
And that's the sneaky swing from Kate Dean. She runs that quick ball right up the middle, but does a good job of finding the deep corners. That's difficult for a middle, and those are always open.
There's Kate Johnson celebrating her senior day. The only senior that's been here 4 years, really earning that senior day here in Charlottesville. Goes out, Virginia adds on another 7-4.
And you talk about the success, but not only the success, but the growth that Johnson has had. Being the only 4-year senior here at UVA, it shows the growth and it shows the culture that she's bought into and how much it has paid off throughout the match. but also as a person. And it's going to take her so far once the season is over.
Becca Bellows, 102 sets played this year. Been a consistent setter as Booth goes over. There's Bellows keeping it up. Barrier can't get under it, and Crawford strikes down.
And that's a lot of power behind Crawford's swing. You know she's been leading this team offensively for the last 4 seasons, but lots of power behind that swing, knowing how to put a ball down.
Step down, a little run here for Wake Forest. They came back to even it up, 7-7.
And they're strong at the net right in front of you, working really hard. That was a nice close there from Hawkins, really working to get out there and close that seam.
Something NC State did really well against Virginia was getting to the net and generating blocks, as there's Whitekettle putting her first stamp on this match.
And NC State looking like they came out with a lot of power defensively towards the end of those 3 sets that you were just talking about, just putting up strong numbers.
Innes gets under that in the back row. There it is again. This time, Kellis Hawkins at the net.
And Wake Forest is just finding their routine. Look at that commitment from Hawkins, taking away that angle from Lang and just really putting that ball down.
Hawkins now over 90 blocks this year. Back to Crawford. Virginia can't get the block this time, making it 10-7 as the run continues. And we'll need it. Getting up high and sending it down. But that's been something that Virginia's been trying to get around. You see, Friday, the last 3 sets that NC State took, they were getting blocks at the net, and then 3 blocks to none right now for the Demon Deacons.
Right, in the last 3 sets, they earned 14 out of the 19 total blocks, 4 and 3, 6 and 4, and 4 and 5. Just really strong defensive numbers they put up to take that 5-set match.
Diving was Booth. No one's there for Virginia. Falls to the floor, 11-7.
But in that last rally, I know we were talking through it, but some incredible defensive plays. I'm pretty sure Legita got that ball up with her foot, doing a good job keeping the ball alive, but being scrappy early in this match is what both teams need to do.
Just needs to stay alive, as it does there. Whitekettle. Nice swing for Wake Forest. She's starting to get involved. Off the hands of Innes and out of play. Demon Deacons another.
And some powerful swings we're seeing from Whitekettle from Wake Forest's right side. They seem to be in the groove, using all options, giving all of their attackers opportunities right now to kill a ball.
Coming off a win against Virginia Tech for the Demon Deacons. Started that streak against Syracuse. After going through a gauntlet of a schedule, another there for Booth. As Virginia gets back on the board after a long Wake Forest run.
And you talk about the gauntlet of a schedule. We talked to Wake Forest's head coach before this match, and just talking about how great the competition is in the ACC and how multiple teams are ranked. And so you go through these seasons and points in the season where you're playing ranked team to ranked team back to back, but then you have to find your groove when you're back in these matches and try to find the growth that you've had from the previous matches.
Before that, the 3-game stretch was Stanford, Notre Dame, and then Louisville before they got their win against Syracuse. 12-9 is back-to-back points for the Cavaliers. Reek serving, one of the better servers for Virginia. She'll take back a point and head behind the line.
And she's been consistent. We saw her Friday night, but now getting on a couple runs behind the service line, and that's what you want to do as a server. You want to cause a little bit of chaos by putting a tough serve in and getting Wake Forest out of system.
10 service aces this year, nearly got one a tiny bit long. Right now, UVA 4 service errors, 5 total in this match. Crawford adds on 1, now 2 for Wake Forest.
And it's kind of early in the match. This is when both teams are kind of going at it, trying to find the consistency that you want to have behind the service line. So errors are normal this early in a match, but it's about how do you rebound from them and how do you limit them as the time goes on.
Attack errors are even too, 3-3, but Virginia still having trouble from behind the service line. But they do have the 1 ace, but to 5 errors right now. There's Virginia. Innes picking up where she left off.
And that's a powerful swing. That was such a strong approach. And as soon as she put that ball down and contacted it, she knew it was going to be a kill. Just watch the power and the growth that she's had all season long is truly fantastic.
Barrier, who had a career day herself, career high 23 digs in that match, was all over the place. But Legita gets back in the action down the line.
And there was a lot of power behind UVA on Friday night, although the result didn't come out to what they wanted. But just like you said, lots of career highs. Barrier, consistent but steady play throughout the match, throwing herself at every ball, allowing her team to compete. And it was just such a strong performance from her.
Doe tries to send it again. Wake Forest all set. Booth couldn't quite get under it.
And that was a nice off-speed shot from Peck, knowing I'm going to take a little bit off of it, find the open spot to put that ball down.
Getting a second straight from the setter, Ryan Baker. Has led this team in assists the past 2 seasons. Strong off the hands of Barrier and out of play.
And that was a beautiful swing from Legita, showing the power, but also the range she has, finding the open seams down the line, but putting too much power on that ball for someone to dig. Just a really powerful swing and approach to that ball, allowing her to be so successful.
So far, so good for Wake Forest, but what a top 10 women's volleyball matchup we have for you Wednesday night, right here on the ACC Network and the all-new ESPN app. Number 4 Pitt hosts number 7 Louisville at the Peterson Event Center. The Panthers have beaten the Cardinals 5 of the last 6 meetings. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern. That's going to be a fun one. As we already mentioned, Wake Forest riding a high right now after these past 3 road wins, as we'll look back at those accomplishments. I mentioned it started with Syracuse.
And Coach Holzmeyer, throughout these last 3 matches, he's talked about the consistency that this team has built. He's proud of them because the ACC competition is tough. But once you get past your Pitt, your Louisville, your UNC, it's time to compete and grow from those matches. And that's what he's seen from his team. And that's what he said. This team is resilient. They're continuing to get better. And the way that they've come out in this first set is showing the growth that they've had so far within the last 3 matches and taking it into this match.
And he felt like everyone in the ACC is a little beat up. It's a tough league, like you said, but getting healthy here down the stretch as well has really helped. Same thing for Virginia, getting Lauren Bowie back.
It's very crucial at this time in the season. It's a long haul, so going through it and committing to it, it can allow injuries to come up and be there, but it's about how your team bounces back from them and how they play for their team.
Between injuries and having to move around offices and games, it has been a crazy year for Shannon Wells and Virginia. Another one for Wake Forest, 18-12.
It has been crazy. We talked with her last week. They're nomads. They are not in their steady place. They're not in their routine. They're just bouncing around, but shows how resilient this team has been and the growth that they've had as well.
There it is from Ennis to get Virginia back on the board. Also getting to do senior night here in JPJ, which is fun for the Cavaliers.
Yeah, exactly. It's always fun to be, especially in JPJ for senior night, but Ennis doing a good job bouncing back, hitting 500 right now, 4 total kills on 8 attempts, finding ways to hit around the block that Wake Forest is putting in front of her.
Wake Forest hitting 300 with 9 kills, 120 for Virginia. Dode keeps it going. Ennis at the net, but gets it down off the high hands.
And making anything work, but going back to that ball was a great up from Dode, allowing that play to keep going. She got her hand under that ball, keeping it alive for her team is what we're really seeing on Virginia's side of the net right now.
Pancake to keep it going. Cross court, but too strong. Virginia will take it. 3-point set here.
They're putting a lot of pressure right now on Wake Forest, putting up big blocks in front of them, making them find the open areas around the block, causing these early errors.
Wake Forest 6th in the conference in attacks per game. This one sticks. Second try for Sadie Peck.
And a powerful swing from Peck. She just springs off the court, gives her a nice good height to get on top of that ball and find that open seam.
Peck, great on the defensive end as well. 4th on the team in blocks. Fourth on the team in kills as well. Alaji. Ennis gets set up, but big at the net. A block.
And you just spoke it into existence. Peck not only is 4th on the team in blocks, but also tonight, 2 on the night so far, setting up a great way for her to take away that strong angle from Ennis.
Exceptional first set, getting high hands. Another point for Virginia. There's White.
And sometimes you have to take a little speed off of it. Nice shot from White, finding the high hands of the block. That's a difficult shot to approach and to take when you're in a match and you have a big block in front of you.
Crawford getting set up just outside that line. Good job by Ennis to let it go. We're at that 20 mark for Wake Forest. They need 5 more. Great dig. Another one. Barrier. Huge job for her. Cavaliers still going. Barrier gets under it, but this time goes out of play, 21-17.
And huge defensive efforts from UVA's side of the net. Great effort from Barrier. Look at her sprawl out for that ball, then go back. Getting it to over the net is just impressive for her to do and get back up so quickly.
She had a fantastic game against NC State as an ace on the other side, Sanaa Williams.
She did. Against NC State, we talked about it. Career high, 23 digs, tied her season best with 3 aces. Just really doing it defensively for Virginia.
Booth goes down the middle, gets the kill, 22-18.
And a smart shot from Booth, knowing that Williams is in the back row, so you don't have Farrell. You don't have your best defender on the court, so you have to be attacking where that middle is because they're not getting a lot of defensive plays.
Well, Ennis right now with 5 kills. Booth becomes the first other player for Virginia to get multiple kills. Then there's 3 players with 1 as Virginia takes a point back. And they'll send number 8 in dark blue, Kate Johnson, but it looks like a timeout. So 22-19, but this is tomorrow night's ACC Network featured women's basketball matchup. Hannah Hidalgo, the nation's leading scorer at 29 points per game. And number 24, Notre Dame host Central Michigan at 9 Eastern, also available on the all-new ESPN app. Hidalgo playing crazy with 24th ranked Notre Dame, looking to continue to climb. Still in non-conference season, but the ACC will heat up quickly. Right now, Shannon Wells trying to get back in a different spot from Friday's match where the first 2 sets were 25-21 for Virginia, now coming from behind.
The first 2 sets, they were in the lead. They had all the momentum on their side of the net, but they know that they have to compete in order to go out there. And right now they have a little more attacking errors and they're finding them earlier in the sets, whereas on Friday, more of their errors came in towards the end of the matches. So I think they're doing a good job of finding the consistency, bringing themselves back into the match by cleaning up those errors and really attacking and competing with Wake.
So just to clarify, they're actually taking a look right now at what we believe is this ball to see if it's inside or outside the line. So tough to see. Wake Forest is seeing it on the big video board, and they feel like they should have it.
The call would be reversed, point to Wake Forest, and they will retain their challenge.
So a correct challenge for Coach Holzmeyer, and changes things up to 23-18 now. Now they're just 2 points away from taking the first set.
And that's a crucial challenge in those moments, but you knew, all of Wake Forest knew that they were confident that ball landed in. So that gives them that extra momentum of not only is the ball back in their hands, but they're putting down these balls and knowing, okay, we can find the range on the court of what we're gonna hit and what we're gonna attack and what's gonna work.
Here's Becca Bello, second on the team in service aces with 27, only behind Legita. Perry's got to send it from the back row. White Kettle blocked at the net as the ball comes to us.
And the one big thing with Wake Forest's stats right now is they have 4 different attackers who have multiple attempts, whereas on Virginia's side of the net, all the attempts are going to Ennis. So they've really got to get more of their attackers involved.
Set point for Wake Forest. Kept going. Emma Farrell's been good. It's in 25-18, and Wake Forest will take the first set on Friday. This time starting a little different. Farrell back to serve. Senior from Norcross, Georgia, as there's Lang getting set up for a first swing. Legita goes into the net, first point Virginia.
And try to find something different with Caroline Lang running on the right side. She's the middle, so she's taking a 2-footed approach off the right side of the court. That's rare for a middle, but they're trying to find a way to get her involved early.
Here's Booth. Dode had to go herself. White Kettle tacks cross court, just too long.
And there's a lot of power. That ball is hit quick. Trying to find that deep corner, which is difficult to aim at, but just missing.
Caden Booth from Kernersville, North Carolina. Previously at Tennessee. Bellows catches the defense off guard, drops it in the middle.
And that's a tough play to defend, knowing that your setter's back row, they're not going to be as aggressive as a setter in the front row. In the front row would be like Zoe Dude. So a really smart IQ play, catching your team off guard.
You see that smile going to the bench. That's her 15th kill of the year. She's getting involved in another way other than assists. Virginia takes back another point. Doing what they did in the first set, they took an early lead, then Wake Forest went on a good run to take a lead 12-7 after being down 7-4.
And I think the difference is here is we're seeing more players get involved on Virginia's offensive side, and that's what they need to do to spread out their offense.
Reed picking it up. There's Dode. One setter to another. So we go.
She loves doing that. She has so much fun up there, knowing she took a couple swings throughout that rally, but just being smart one final time, giving it a little bit more power, getting that point.
Got to get used to this. On the score sheet, Reagan Innes, 5 kills, and then right under her, Zoe Dope. Long strike. Another point for Virginia as their run continues, 5-1. Largest lead here for the Cavaliers. Legita, Booth. Barrier getting underneath it. Back row Booth. Couldn't get all she wanted. Goes off the hands of Innes. A powerful swing on the other side.
A powerful swing with a lot of movement on that ball. There wasn't a lot of topspin. That was kind of like a floater going right at Innes, but doing a good job finding that cross 4 shot is one of the hardest to hit.
Patricia Legita, double-digit kills in each of her last, or 4 of her last 5, actually. Dode setting up Innes, trying to get her going. Getting through, this time is Crawford.
And Crawford kind of got lucky on that ball, taking a little bit of speed off of that, but utilizing the block. Little off timing between Dode and Dean, and utilizing the hands to get that kill.
Paige Crawford in her senior season. Getting a rose from the Virginia Cavaliers, honoring the Demon Deacons seniors as well as the freshman Reagan Innes goes and sticks a corner.
And you speak a little bit about Crawford's success and what she has brought to this team, the consistency that she's had as, you know, beautiful swing there from Innes, really finding that deep seam. But Crawford has just done it all for Wake over the last 4 years.
She was ACC All-Freshman back in 2022, MVP of the Wake Forest Invitational this year as 6'4".
And we talked to Coach Holzmeyer about her before the match, and he's just saying she's your lead by example type of girl, very consistent in her game all around the court. She plays 6 rotations, so she doesn't leave that court unless she needs a quick break before a timeout. But she knows the game and knows how to stay that consistent and steady player.
We're seeing Lauren Bowie in the match and quickly on the board.
And that's what they missed on Friday. They needed Bowie on the right side to bring that power and bring that energy. She knows the game, she knows the culture, and she has so much range at the net, doing a nice job of always finding a way to kill a ball.
Getting underneath it, Scott, but couldn't pop it up. Wake Forest continues to battle back. Same exact start almost to that first set we had, which Wake ended up taking. If you're just joining us, that first set was 25-18. Long ball service error number 3 for the Demon Deacons.
And that first set was all about runs. If you're looking at the side out percentage, so how often are you getting a first pass and serve receive to kill a ball? Wake Forest is sitting at 57%, Virginia's sitting at 50%. So you're seeing that Wake Forest is siding out more than Virginia, allowing them to get on these runs and get that score gap.
Kate Johnson serving, but Wake Forest gets the side out. Crawford will go back to serve. Eight kills for Crawford. Goes with 4 digs and 2 blocks. Booth rejected at the net.
And that was a really strong block from Wake Forest's side of the net. But here you see Shani wanted to get involved in this match, knowing that her team can utilize and be smarter at that point.
Usually on what would be the far side for Virginia. Taking a back row view this time. Wake Forest yet again climbing all the way back, tying it up, even 8-8. Crawford trying to extend a 3-0 run. But Caroline Lang says no, 9-8.
And she just does not look like a first year. She looks like she has years of experience. This is her 3rd year playing volleyball, her 3rd year. Making herself an option is one of the hardest things to do as a middle blocker, and just making herself utilized and being that option for the Virginia offense.
Went to St. Anne's Belfield right here in Charlottesville. Lagita inside the line. Wake Forest point.
Wake Forest doing a good job finding the open gaps. Virginia's running a different kind of defense where they're pulling their setter up so they can cover the tip, opening that line shot, hoping to take it away from the block. But Wake Forest really exploiting that right now.
Whitekettle, a strong swing, sends it back for the Demon Deacons. Here she is again. The side spin, sticks inside.
Really strong swing, finding that cross-court option, but utilizing the hands of the block. You only have one blocker in front of you, taking that cut shot and using it.
Dode takes a swing. Bellows going back at Whitekettle. This time it's Virginia with the block.
And this is the type of runs that we're seeing. We saw Wake Forest just now take the lead, get on a little bit of a run, but Virginia needing to find a way to side out and get a first ball kill quicker.
Whitekettle had a really powerful swing a second ago. This time slows things down.
And that's all volleyball IQ, knowing that you can put the ball down, but I'm also going to be smart and find the open spot to put that ball down as well. And that's what we're seeing. It's just smart volleyball IQ.
Ryan Baker. Service error. And makes it 11-11. We're tied for a second time. (5-4) Virginia leading in service errors, but barrier behind the service line. Legita gets off high hands. The 2024 NEC Player of the Year, making waves in the ACC.
And it's really smart volleyball. You know she has so much power behind her swing, but it's really the IQ she's using, is using that block to kind of create a ricochet and get that kill to go back out. It's just a smart play, knowing when to put the power on the ball, but when to take it off.
Virginia going at Innes, but the hands at the net have been so strong for Wake Forest right now. 6 blocks.
They've been so strong. They've come in with a game plan knowing Innes is Virginia's go-to. So why not get a solid four-handed block in front of her every single time?
That was the 7th for the Demon Deacons. This time, Innes sticks it. Back within 1.
And props to Innes, because she knows that she has such a solid block in front of her, but she's doing smart, finding, okay, I want to hit my cross shot, but I'm going to go down the line that time because I know that block stepped into the inside and took away my power shot.
Scott from the back. Rides the net, kept up by Innes. Bowie once again.
And she was all smiles that play. She came down knowing that was an out-of-system set, so I needed to adjust to it. But you know what? You take what works, and you take that kill to your stat sheet.
Innes with 7 kills. The next closest for Virginia is 2. Bowie again. She's got 3.
And she's going to be climbing her way up on the stat sheet. The power, but also the range of attacks she has. Finding that seam and putting it down. Such a tough shot to have when you have 4 blockers in front of you.
Right now, hitting 750. 4 attacks, 3 kills.
It's safe to say Virginia did miss her.
Definitely did. She only played in 22 matches this season. Missed her as of late. Quick one. That was Dean sending it over. And Wake Forest can't keep it going. 15-14. As Wake Forest yesterday, or not yesterday, Friday actually, Virginia hit 375 in the second set. So for Florida State to do that the entire time, extremely impressive as Wake Forest ties things up 15-15.
It is impressive. You just spoke to it. 375 in the second set, only 1 attack error, but 374 through a whole match is just impressive, and it's consistent. Limiting your errors, but also killing the ball leads to that.
And when Bowie's playing like this, she's come in and lifted the team's hit percentage.
She has, and we spoke about her earlier and the confidence she has on the court. But you can really see the whole energy of the team shift, the momentum of the team shift, knowing that they've got another go-to on the court and they're going to use her.
4 kills, hitting 800. Farrell to Crawford. Too strong. Puts Virginia up by 2. Final home match on their senior day. Looks like we caught Vivian when she didn't want to be. Booth pushes it over. Stemming the run for Virginia.
That was a great push from Scott. She was really far off the net, really getting her feet to the ball, being able to deliver a ball out that Booth could work with is a really difficult thing to do.
keep the 3-0 run going, but Kate Johnson too hot off the hands and into the stands. But no souvenir, you gotta give it back.
And sometimes when there's a lot of power behind a swing like that, you have to just go for it and hope that your platform can control the trajectory of the ball.
Back row, Innes. That is 8 kills for the freshman.
And that's a weapon. Knowing that you have that outlet in the back row, watch how explosive she is. Almost landing on Lang, but still wide open net, putting it down.
Paige Crawford right now leading all hitters with 9 kills. Here's Virginia. Now Wake answering. White Kettle. Powerful overhand swing.
And sometimes those are the kills that, as a team, you just need to look at one another and say, you know what? Next ball. Next ball. That was a great swing. Give it to them and move on to the next point.
Wake Forest hitting 273 as a team, 308 for White Kettle. But Crawford with 9 kills, White Kettle's got 7, and then you get to Legita with 6. For Virginia, it's Innes with 8, and then Bowie the next with 4. And in to the stands off that one. Good serve from Emma Farrell to bring Wake Forest within 1. Going for another comeback. It was earlier on, though, in that first set. This time a little later. Caroline Lang, the other freshman for this Virginia team, third-year volleyball player, makes it 2018, their first there.
And I'm really liking the way they run her on the right side. It opens up a different range of possibilities for Virginia, allowing them to open that gap and create some seams. It's a really smart play.
Wake Forest handles the serve from Cadence Booth. And there it is again. Caroline Lang starting to see the offense spread out for Virginia.
And you know what? If that's working and it's going to continue to work, you give her the ball and you give her that opportunity. But you're right, the offense on Virginia's side is spreading out, and that's what they needed. They needed more girls to go out there and kill the balls.
Taking a look here at the last point.
Just a really powerful swing from Lang. That line is wide open, giving herself that opportunity to make that angle and attack that angle with that approach.
Goes straight down the line. She has been remarkable just playing this year, where she has 4 kills, 333 hit percentage here. But we got a great top 10 women's volleyball matchup we have for you Wednesday night right here on the ACC network in the all-new ESPN app. Number 4, Pitt hosts number 7, Louisville, at the Peterson Events Center. The Panthers taking down the Cardinals. 5 of the last 6 meetings. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern. Exciting time in ACC volleyball as postseason approaches. Virginia and Wake Forest neck and neck. Demon Deacons, if they can get a win, they get above 500, but also get their first 9-win ACC season since 2010. Also looking for 4 straight wins on the road, which will be the first time since 1999. So trying to achieve some milestones on the trip to Charlottesville.
And it's always fun to have those milestones to look forward to and try to reach as a team when talking to the coach. And, you know, he said, of course, it's fun to look at them, but to achieve them is even better.
Dode! Little bit of a slam dunk. 22-18.
And she's put a little bit more power behind her kills tonight. She's not getting to be as swingy and get to take an approach swing on it, but she's putting power, finding the open spots, and really handling that second contact nicely.
Lang can't get it off high hands. Wake Forest answers. Halts another 3-0 scoring run for Virginia.
And you know, you gotta love when your players know, you know what, that wasn't my swing, but I got the next one, and that's exactly what Lang did. She came into that huddle, she looked at Dode, said, great set, I got that next ball, and that's what you have to do, next ball mentality.
Goes back to Ennis. 23-18. This time it's the Cavaliers in control late.
And Ennis has been having success down the line. She's found that open spot and is continuously attacking it. That block is giving her more of a line area to play with, and she's painting it down the line very nicely.
Hitting much better to start this match than last time out. 3-18 right now with 9 kills. Tied for the match lead. Ennis again. Double-digit kills and set point, Virginia.
And when you have your first year who is that successful and is finding a way to kill the ball, you just have to keep delivering it. But great transition play from Virginia, allowing her to get a full approach on that ball.
Searching to be the first in the Shannon Wells era to have 7 20-plus kill matches in a season. Booth had to go from the back row. Magida mistimed. Farrell diving under it. Dode goes down, still gets the set. And Ennis drops it to make it 25-19. And we are even split.
And talk about, you have a good block in front of you, you can make those defensive reads, and that's what we saw from Virginia in that set.
Underway. So gets squeezed over there. So now Williams finding the first kill of the third set.
And that's a sneaky quick play to run. Williams behind the setter, but also running right up the middle. That's a tough ball to defend.
You've told me before you want to side out around 60%. Right now it's 56% for Wake Forest and 54.5 for Virginia. Crawford off the hands of Barrier and out of play.
And Crawford is really good at finding that deep corner shot. She knows she has a solid forehand block in front of her, but really utilizing that swing and the height of that ball that she can find to place it in the back corner for a kill.
Had 17 kills against Virginia Tech and 14 against Boston College. Kept up by Caroline Lang. Booth. Into the middle. Great job by Regan Barrier to keep things going for the Cavaliers. And it's Virginia coming away with the point. Now they're getting in, blocking at the net.
And that was all defensive fronts from Virginia on that side. You see bodies on the floor, keeping that ball alive. But really, in those rallies, it is so tough to stay on it. You are losing your breath, and it's exhausting. But a really nice job closing that block to end that point.
Get a stoppage here. They're gonna challenge, we'll look at.
Wake Forest is challenging a net call.
So a net call will have to take a look, but Coach Holzmeyer seeing something different at the net.
And in a long rally like that, you kind of get the opportunity to look throughout the match throughout the set, did any part of the ball, any hand, hit the net at any time in that rally?
There's a slight movement in the net. I would say the place you're mostly looking at is Zoe Dode's left arm. That is close.
That is close. And its question is does she touch the net before the ball that ricochets off of Lang hit the net?
So it goes slow. And the net has a slight jump to it. When Dode and Lang come down, that's who was comboed on the block on the right pin. The call was a Virginia point on the floor.
After review, the call will stand. No more.
So we'll stay where we are. Virginia gets their first point of the set. And we'll bring back Cadence Booth to serve. So this challenge unsuccessful. Retained their last one, so they're 1 for 2.
And at those points, sometimes it's tough to tell when the ball is being ricocheted back on. Did it touch the top of the net? Did the net move? But it's always important, and thankful we have so many ways to now look at that call.
Farrell has to send it over. 3 hits for Wake Forest. Lang stopped, and off the block, bounces down. Early lead for the Demon Deacons.
And they're just continuing their defensive efforts throughout this match. We know Coach was really happy about it, them getting their inside arm pressed over quicker. It truly makes a difference. You want to have strong hands as a blocker in the front. You want to have your hands pressed over, so you're really not allowing for any ricochet off of the block.
Booth keeps it up on the dive. Goes back to Ennis. 12 kills, 3-2.
And the range of shots Ennis has, I know I touched on a little bit ago, but the way that she can attack that sharp cross corner shot, we call it a 4-to-4 shot, so thumb down, but then go back up and find it a cross shot deep down the line. It's impressive.
Shannon Wells fully believes they have the best freshman in the ACC in Reagan Ennis. Crawford stopped at the net. Lang sends it back. White Kettle. Back down. And it's been big in the middle for Kellis Hawkins.
She's been very strong defensively, but now wanting to make herself known as an offensive weapon as well. But doing a good job of remaining consistent in every aspect of her game, and that's what Wake needs right now.
Kellis Hawkins with 4 blocks. Through now the first 2 sets and then some. Ennis gets the touch and gets it inside. You'll get Lauren Bowie back in. As Shannon Wells mentioned when we got to talk to her, just getting her back in, that chemistry and everything with the setters. It's an adjustment.
It's an adjustment, but she has the experience, and her team knows that. They rely on her for that experience and for that leadership.
A block coming in from Kate Dean, second on the team in blocks this season.
She closed that seam really well, taking away that angle shot.
Setting up Hawkins again. This time doesn't come away with the kill. And now Virginia, the one coming back to take a lead early in the set.
Well, they had all the momentum going into this third set, really making everything work. They were in rhythm. They were having great passes to first ball kills, to great plays defensively. And that's why you see them out in the lead now, building off of what they've done.
So a 3-0 run halted by Wake Forest as Emma Farrell goes back to serve. leading the team in digs. Dean with the kill, and you still got it. Punches it right back out.
You've always got to be prepped.
You have to be ready, especially when we sit here.
Exactly.
Head
We're
on a
right in the
swivel.
kill zone.
Innes back to serve. Into the net for the native New Yorker. Do we get to see this? Look at this, the reflexes. Bang. Right back on the floor. Exactly where it needs to be. Serving was Virginia, so you nailed it.
Exactly. Just got to give my team the ball back, you know?
Here's Barrier receiving the serve. Poked over. This one doesn't come to us. It almost did.
They must want us out there.
I guess so. I wouldn't be much help. Yeah, get the, I don't know, the 5'9" outside hitter. Not it. Here's Kate Johnson. 7-6 Virginia lead. Lagita gets the kill. 7th for Lagita, leading the team in hit percentage, 400.
And you know the reason why is she only has one attack error. 15 total attempts, just one error. Playing a clean game of volleyball, knowing and utilizing the experience she has, making different swings in different plays to be that successful.
Both setters for Wake Forest playing very well as well. Ryan Baker, and along with Becca Bellows, 14 assists for Bellows, and 11 for Baker as Virginia takes back the lead, 8-7.
You're talking a little bit about Wake Forest setters. They're doing a really nice job of putting up hittable balls. It's always important to better the contact. So you want to better the first contact, better the ball. And that's what they're doing, putting their hitters in great opportunities to kill the ball.
Getting Meredith Reed, the junior from Raleigh, North Carolina, serving. Barrier, great dig on the first, can't get the second even.
Really strong defensive efforts from Barrier, knowing that, okay, I didn't control that first dig the best, but I'm still getting in it and trying to get that second dig as well. But sometimes you just have to let a hitter have their heyday.
So that serve goes out. 9-8, Cadence Booth. Going back. Senior went to East Forsyth before going to Tennessee, where she spent 2022 and 2023. Innes just has to send it over. Pokes it down. 10-8 Cavaliers.
And that's a smart play from Ennis. She knew the ball was tight, but being smart, trying to take Crawford out of the picture. You see that tip falling there. Crawford's in picking it up, but now Wake Forest doesn't have an outside, so they have to shift their defense over. And so those are the IQ plays that first years are making. It's impressive.
Blocked at the net. It's Lang and Innes, a freshman combo.
I'm really liking this freshman combo we see over here. Just so fun to watch, but the growth in their game as well, and the confidence that their team has given them to be such a force at the net.
Great dig there from Farrell, but Hawkins couldn't get to it, so an ace for Booth. Now a 4-0 scoring run for Virginia. You mentioned they carried the momentum from the last set, having it here. Baker sets up Crawford. Picks up her 12th kill. Trailing only Reagan Innes in this match.
And Crawford just staying consistent for her team, hitting 233 on the match. just knowing that the leadership she has and the growth that she has had throughout her four seasons makes her this player that everyone looks up to be, but also knows that I have to put the ball down for my team when they need it.
Crawford this time into the net. Puts 13 on the board for Virginia as they lead the race to 15 right now. Katie Barrier from Nashville, Tennessee, also coming from University of Tennessee. 14 starts last year, 54 sets. Too strong on the receive from Lagita. Ennis will make you pay.
And that's Barrier. Barrier just set up Ennis back there, giving her that tough serve, allowing her to be so powerful in the front. That's unstoppable.
16 kills sitting here about halfway through the third set. Searching to be the first player with 7 20-plus kill games in a season since Grace Turner in 2022. Well, 6 for her. She'll be the first in the Shannon Wells era to get 7 as she continues. Wake Forest taking that last point.
And the numbers she's putting up are just impressive. I know we've talked about it all weekend long. She does not look like a first year on the court. She looks like she's playing with this experience, this growth, and that comes from the confidence of her players and the confidence of her setters, allowing her to be this success.
She's hitting .438 right now, too.
Just impressive.
Zoe Dode, you gotta keep an eye on her, especially as of late, picks up her 4th kill.
And what I like about her is she knows when to dump the ball, but she knows the right time to do it.
Virginia getting help from their setter. Zoe Dode puts it down at a career game last time out. Serve from Hannah Scott. Blocked for Virginia. Lauren Bowie on the right side.
And what a block from Bowie there. Her hands over fast, knowing I'm gonna take away this power shot from Lagita. And that's what she did.
That is her first block back. Just barely goes out looking for that right line. Good eye from Wake Forest. 16-11. Hannah Scott setting very well today. 12 assists for her. Zoe Dode has 14. Just like Wake Forest, both setters playing well. Wake Forest earns another point back.
The connection you're talking about, Scott, and how she's made that with her attackers, it's really stood out to me, the connection she has with Bowie. When they first came in this first match, she was dishing her beautiful balls over and over, allowing Bowie to put that ball down. And so you can see the trust, but also the growth that she has with her team.
Trying to help them take this third set. Diving was Lagita. White Kettle pushes it. Perfect spot.
It was a perfect spot. Everyone, when you see the tip hand or approach kind of go up, you always think it's right over the block, but she put a little power behind that, pushing that back down the line. It's a difficult but smart play.
White Kettle from Topsail Beach, North Carolina. Farrell just poked back down by Kate Dean.
And that was a great dig from Farrell. I know we haven't spoken about her a lot today, but her success over the last 4 seasons she's had at Wake Forest, and right now, currently leading the conference in digs per set, 4.02. She's all over Ennis right now, making those real-time game adjustments to try and dig her and defend her.
In the last 3 road wins for Wake Forest, 17 digs versus Syracuse, and then 18 versus Boston College and Virginia Tech. She has been very solid today. And like you said, kind of unsung in everything that she does for the Demon Deacons, as a timeout taken here.
And that's sometimes what you expect or what you see from your best players. They're not only humble, but they don't stand out because of how consistent they've been and how amazing they've been for their team. And that's who Emma Farrell is throughout this match, she's just making plays left and right. And that speaks to the growth she's had as a player, but also the consistency she provides the Deacons in the back row. And that's a really tough thing to do, is make game time decisions against amazing attackers.
Little dance party in JPJ, but Farrell just staying with her. She's got 11 digs, as we're not through the first 3 sets totally, but over her career at Wake Forest, starting back in 2022, those numbers speak for themselves.
And out of all 4 years, she's been top 10 in digs per set. You see it there. First in her first freshman season, and now back to second in the conference now, is just, it's impressive, and it speaks to the volume in the game that she has brought to Wake Forest defensively. And those numbers are just hard to beat. You don't want anything more from your libero.
You're over 4 digs per set, 3 out of your 4 years.
Exactly.
Extremely impressive from her. Reagan Innes back to serve. Still can't get over the kill distribution right now for Virginia. It's 16 for Innes, and then 5 players with 4 kills.
When you have trust in one player and know that they're performing at the level they are right now, you want to continuously give them the ball.
Why go anywhere else? Wake Forest earns the point back. Williams with the kill. That's the Demon Deacons down by 4 with Ryan Baker out of Rolling Meadows, Illinois, captain of this Wake Forest squad. Virginia looking for high hands, they got it. Wake Forest going to their coach, asking for a challenge. I think we're gonna get one.
I think we are too, and there's something about when your team is confident and they don't think that they've touched the ball. They know, but I think from our perspective, I didn't really get a good look on that, so I'm curious to see how this plays out.
It was right in front of us, and
challenging the call for touch.
And it came off Booth's hand pretty clean and went to the floor. We'll have to take a closer look, as the initial ruling is no touch. So as always, the call on the floor always matters. Have to have conclusive evidence to overturn it.
And this is a really crucial point right now. Wake Forest has come up with a couple runs of a point, and so if they were able to reverse this call and keep going forward with it, that gives them a little bit more momentum.
From that angle, didn't see any changes in where the ball was going. Here's that side angle, the net view we have.
And you're not seeing any movement in the fingers, so I think from this perspective and this look, it looks like it could be overturned.
It goes straight by. It would have to have just barely grazed the hands. A good look from our crew. This is where we could really possibly see the fingers. It seems like it just barely goes over. Great zoom in. Appreciate our crew here.
The call is confirmed. Wake Forest will lose that challenge. They have no more challenges.
So they could not confirm it based on the views they had. Coach Holzmeyer So the call was confirmed. No more challenges for Wake Forest. He's not able to really see the touch from this side, but a better look from our R2. Robert Dean, Wayne Clark, Lance Rogers, and Jasmine Johnson. Rogers and Johnson, the line judges. Virginia 1 away from 20, Wake Forest at 15. Magida. Booth. Into the stance.
Matt Bauer behind that swing was almost like one of those balls coming at you that you just gotta hope you're there, hope it doesn't hit you, and keep it propped up on your side of the net.
Virginia at 20, Wake Forest at 15. Seeing if Virginia can take back-to-back sets. Great dive from Ennis. Reed couldn't get there.
Those are the off-speed shots that are really smart to be making when you know I can put this ball down and I really have to put this ball down to get a side out for my team. So really smart shot there by Peck.
Freshman Sadie Peck, Zionsville, Indiana. Booth put it down, it did hit the floor. Put 21 on the board.
And Booth has fired herself up a bit now, reaching 7 kills, hitting .353, but utilizing the range of the court that she has in front of her.
Virginia, .312 hit percentage as a team as Booth picks up service error number 9 for the Cavaliers. So a 4-point deficit as Becca Bellows comes in, 16 assists for her with 3 digs. Ennis inside that back line. Strikes for 17.
And she's been finding that open seam all day long. Wake Forest has yet to make an adjustment, taking away that line shot from her, really doing a nice job of continuing to attack it when it's right open and in front of you.
Barrier serving for Virginia. White Kettle stopped at the net. Back row, Booth. Just outside.
And Booth really wanted that swing. I think we're gonna get a challenge from here, seeing if that ball was in. She came down extremely confident, saying that was in.
I thought it was in.
I did too.
Based on where we are, it looked in. We'll have to take a look at the video. Obviously very fast from Cadence Booth with that big swing.
Wake Forest is challenging the call of out.
So Virginia is challenging the call of out.
I need to correct that. Virginia is challenging the call of out.
Nice sense of humor there. Virginia obviously challenging that call, so we'll see if it was inside that back line. That is close, but it seems like it hits the blue.
It does, but you kind of have to look at it in a sense of, does any part of the ball hit the white tape? And if it's just the smallest sliver, then that ball is considered in. So from that angle, we're seeing that ball lands in. That ball hits the tape, it's in.
That is a great shot puts it right on the line.
The call will be reversed. The ball was in.
So call is overturned. Virginia picks up a big point to switch it to 23-17 now, and they're 2 away from taking the third set.
And this crowd is erupting. There's something about when you know your team is confident, and I just mentioned that, but something about when you know everyone in this arena is confident that the ball was in.
Barrier, there's Farrell. Another great dig for the outstanding defender. Crawford, barrier, Reed, combo to keep it up. Dode, Farrell, liberos all over Virginia, the block. 24-17 set point.
And you might as well give that point to Virginia's defense. I mean, watch these two in the back row for Virginia, sprawling out, keeping that ball alive, letting them be successful. And that's what you see, finishing with that block. That was all Virginia's defense right there.
I think that was just a moment to let defense shine for a second. You get
Exactly.
Reed, you get barrier, then you get a great effort there from Farrell and Wake Forest, and then a block to finish it all off. Reed again. Innis off the hands, set 3, goes to the Cavaliers.
And you know that when Virginia's on its game and they're in their, that also shows you why they're playing the way they are. Just great volleyball all around.
Underway. Crawford has to dive for it early. Lakita, she gets high hands.
And Wake Forest, this set really needs to do a good job going back to Crawford and Legita, knowing that they can put up those numbers and they can contribute more. But in that set, they didn't have as many attempts as a team, so trying to make more defensive plays to get themselves in the front.
Reed to Booth. Hawkins keeps it going. Dode hitting it into the net, drops down. Wake Forest takes the first 2 points. Crawford getting to stay behind the line. 13 kills to lead the way for Wake Forest. 2 blocks as well. Back row, Innis. Pushed back down. Booth gets the kill.
And what a beautiful dig from Farrell. She knew that Innis is a weapon out at the back row. She knows that Virginia can run that big play in system or out of system, but beautiful read on that corner shot.
Booth with the serve, the 4th ranked player in North Carolina by Prep Volleyball, coming out in the class of 2021. Innis staying strong. That's 20.
I mean, might as well give her her 7th match with the way she's playing. She's working for these numbers, and she's working for her team and allowing them to be this successful.
That is her 7th 20-plus kill match. So it goes off the hands of Barrier and out of play. She is the first to ever do that in the Shannon Wells era. Grace Turner had 6 back in 2022, but it's the freshman already making waves.
And you touched on it, but rooted in the success that she's going to have within the next 4 years is just insane.
You mentioned at the top of the broadcast you want to show out for your seniors. She must really love her seniors.
She must really do, and in the best way possible, they also love her, because she could not be this successful and continue to get better and better every day if they didn't challenge her in practice and they didn't challenge her on the court. And that's why she's doing and showing us what she can do.
What can't she do? She's tied for the team lead in blocks right now with 3. Just an outstanding game. She's hitting .429 now. And they have the lead 4-3, and an ace for Barrier. Make it 5.
And this has really changed the trajectory from Friday night's match. They started out really strong, but right now, really continuing to finish. And that's what we've talked about, or what they've talked about as a team, is they need to finish out the match and close out the match. And this aggression and consistency we're getting is allowing them to do that.
They took the first 2 sets against NC State, but 3 straight for the Wolfpack made it a reverse sweep. This time in control, and trying to finish it. Barrier, great job by Virginia. Lagita, Booth from the back row, and then it's sent down at the net. Sanaa Williams was ready.
And she was ready, and that was handed right to her. But look at the defensive plays that we're getting on Virginia's side. The way they are diving over and over, just throwing themselves to keep the ball alive. But when you kind of have a play like that, when you're in the middle and it's a free ball, you have to terminate it.
Farrell was ready on the Dean strike. Crawford diving. Great battle here. Innes finishes 6-4.
Great defensive plays from both teams. They're working really hard in transition, getting off the net, making themselves options in the front row. But that's props to their defensive plays. They're getting great block touches, keeping the ball alive on both sides of the net right now, are leading to these long rallies.
20 kills in each of her last 3 matches. Now has 22. Barrier once again playing so well in the white libero jersey. Lagita into the net. 7-4.
And you mentioned it, Barrier, just flying out of nowhere. The reason Virginia's being successful in transition kills right now is because of her defensive efforts.
Answering right back, they'll give it to Williams. She's got back-to-back kills.
And a lot of power behind that swing from Williams. Really trying to turn up the momentum for her team. They're only down 2 points. Obviously, not even close to being over in this match, but really trying to find a way. Let's flip the switch and let's get our momentum back.
Drew Lalaji out of Atlanta, Georgia, went to Pace Academy. Checks in for Lagita to serve. Bowie. Crawford against her. Into the net for Bowie. Wake Forest answers back 7-6. Or actually gets a second straight, 2 in a row. Malaji, just a sophomore D-spec, defensive specialist. Barrier keeping it up. Williams is right there once again on the net. Free ball, slam it down.
And she is the momentum right now on Wake's side of the net. Look at the intensity on her face with everything she's doing, from blocking to attacking. She's bringing this team back in the match.
But Bowie sticks it inside the back line, an answer to the Wake Forest run.
And Bowie really clean volleyball all night, but I love that play. You saw a couple points ago, they run her to the right side, try and give her more and more intense. But now, running her up the middle to open up the range she has to work with and cause a little bit of chaos on Wake Forest's side.
Not a bad return for Lauren Bowie. Hitting 500 and a block to go along with it.
Exactly. This team needed that energy, and I know I spoke to it in the beginning of this match. She brings another level of game for the Cavaliers, and you can see it with her intensity, but with the numbers she puts in every time she touches the ball. It's a different level of a match.
No one was there, just a miscommunication from Virginia. As it drops for the point. Peck will take credit for the kill.
Those are the tough plays. You have to, as a team, you can't let a ball drop ever without anyone being there. So hoping that Virginia can find this side out, which they do, because they have to rebound from a point like that.
That blistered off the hand of Williams. Soars long to bring back Kate Johnson to serve. An ace, Johnson, the senior on Senior Sunday.
And that's one of the hardest jobs to have as a serving specialist. You're coming off the court, putting in a tough serve and watching that ball drop. It's difficult to do, but she does it well.
Farrell been doing great in serve receive. Great dig, Johnson, back row, Innes still up. Innes from the back row doing the dirty work. Booth touching it last. Alija.
And that was a really great out-of-system set from Scott. You can see bodies are on the floor, but sending a nice and high ball out to Booth, giving her the time to reset in her approach after a fast couple touches. And it was placed perfectly as well.
Crawford off speed. Johnson running after it. Sliding the floor, but can't get there. Wake Forest needed a point after that 3-0 run for Virginia, 12-9.
Wake Forest needing to find more than a point. They're needing to find their rhythm to get back into this match.
Right now hitting 195. First time they've dropped below 200 since the first set. That does touch down. Virginia makes it 13.
And that's a smart shot from Bowie, finding the nice right over the block kind of love tap, you can call it, making it really difficult for Farrell to get there and get a hand under it.
Madison, what have you seen from Wake Forest that could possibly help them find that rhythm?
I think they really need to dig higher balls so their outsides and their hitters can get more involved. Right now, all the momentum and rhythm is on Virginia's side of the net. And yes, Wake Forest is making those defensive plays, but they need to make those defensive plays and allow more time for their hitters to truly get great approaches to put all the power they can behind their swings.
Well, they got a point back, so down by 3. Nikita kept up, pushed over by Booth. And it's Virginia who comes away with that point.
And I mean, these defensive efforts, but I'm impressed from Innes. She's not only getting it done in the front row, but her defensive efforts are stepping out. And she's also on the court 6 rotations, so she doesn't get a lot of break, but great reaction from both her and Reeg in that play to keep the ball alive.
And with that, Cadence Booth gets her 10th kill, double digits. Her and Innes at the top, both hitting .375. Dode on the dump, this time doesn't get it. Blocked at the net, Caroline Lang.
I mean, in all
Bigs and 10 blocks, defense been doing a lot of work.
And you know, you gotta love the littles and the opportunities that they are giving their hitters in the back row right now. But not only 57 total digs, 14 in just this set. I mean, they are everywhere, all over the court, allowing their team to be so successful offensively. And you can see that. You can see the bruises, the way their bodies are flying everywhere. It's impressive numbers that they're putting up, but it is the momentum right now for Virginia. These plays are bringing Virginia on top.
The only number Virginia trails in statistically right now is service errors. They have 9. Wake Forest has 6. There's Reeg. A couple more bodies on the floor. Rides the net, stays out. Booth off the back row, off high hands.
And that's exactly what we're seeing, these long rallies, these defensive plays. We just saw it again, allowing Booth to fly out of that back row and get that kill 5 attempts later.
She's got 11 now, and for the first time, at least at volume of attacks, have a new high in hit percentage, 385. Wake Forest takes back a point, stops a 3-0 run once again.
And that's a really smart shot from Lagita, taking a little bit of speed off of that, knowing that we're gonna bring in all of our players to try and keep that ball up so then we can set up a better defensive block for a less number of attackers.
Ennis squeezes it over. Virginia 17, and they have just rolled. Won the second set, took it into the third, and now 17-11 for the Cavaliers with Barrier serving. She has one of the 4 service aces for Virginia off the top of the hands of Dode. Whitekettle will sub out.
And Wake Forest trying to find anything they can do right now to build a sort of momentum because they're still in this set. They're only down 5 points. They need to find a way to turn it up as a team.
Ennis again. Grabbing a kill. That is 24 now, which is the highest she's had since back in October 15th against Virginia Tech, where she had 23. Still a bit to go for the season high and career high as a freshman, 32 against Syracuse. Ennis and net violation?
I think that's what they were calling on that point, but hard to say because I thought both blockers were up, and I almost think it was the movement of the ball causing a little bit of net, but it's a bummer that Coach Holzmeier doesn't have any challenge to work with at this time in the match.
A great point. Block, but off the hands of Bowie. Lagita was our player to watch. Definitely hasn't been quiet. 11 kills, hitting 233. Honestly, just running into Reagan Ennis and a Virginia team that is playing inspired right now. Virginia strong at the net right now. Poke down, Dean, the kill, 2013.
And that's a good point you make. Virginia is just inspired. They are rolling. It's not that we are getting any poor volleyball from Wake. It is just so hard for them to find any sort of offensive rhythm and keep them in the match because Virginia has the stops at the net, the stops in the back row. They have every aspect of the game going their way as they are working for it.
Bowie kept up, great play by Farrell. Barrier answering. poked down. It was Williams there again at the net.
And Williams has given us the only sort of movement forward for Wake Forest at the net. She's been aggressive. She's been putting on this kind of energy, saying we really got to find our rhythm. We really have to snap out of this because they're not even close to being out of this match.
Into the top of the net. Service error number 7 for Wake. Need a comeback here to try and extend it. Virginia wants to close this one out and get to some senior celebrations. Set up Innes from the back row. 22 in the 4th set for Virginia. 3 away from closing.
And she is just rolling. You could see her call for that ball, knowing the ball's a little off. The set's going to be a little off, but still finding a corner and a way to put the ball down. It just lets her add this to her career in highlight reel.
22-14 for Virginia, but let's pull up our ACC Network's featured men's basketball matchups. Cameron Boozer and number 5 Duke hosting Howard. That's this afternoon at 4 Eastern. Cameron indoor, plus 6th-ranked Louisville hosts Eastern Michigan tomorrow night at 7 Eastern. Both are available on the all-new ESPN app. Virginia offensively has been led by Reagan Innes. 26 kills, hitting .415, getting some help from the bench and Cadence Booth. 11 kills, she's been on the floor a good majority, and then getting back Lauren Booth.
And it was smart because we kind of talked about earlier, Virginia needing to spread out their offense after the first set, knowing that Innes can't just carry this team. They have to have more players step up. And Booth stepped up huge in this last 2 sets with so much power, so much range behind every swing. But also, having Bowie back, it helps. You can see she has no errors on the day. 429 hitting, only 14 total attempts, but still finding a way to put up those numbers for her team.
I'd say they're pretty happy to have her back.
I would like to agree in the same way. I think everyone can see it. They're all smiles on the court, but not only smiles, they're confident. This is a confident Virginia crew that's in the rhythm of their match, and they should be very proud with the way they are playing.
Just too strong there from Johnson. Just hoping she could find that back line. Wake Forest trailing now by 7 with Bellows back to serve. Wake Forest another one. They stack 2 back-to-back.
And that was a great serve from Bellows behind the line. That ball just dropped right on Innes's platform. And it could be a way for them to get back into the match with tough serving.
That was Booth. White Kettle sends it out. 23 for Virginia. 2 points to close things out. Up 2-1.
And these errors don't help at this point of the match. You know Virginia has this much of a lead. You have to find a way to better that third contact. Keep it in play as much as you can to try and cause any sort of momentum shift.
Crawford goes out off the hands of Lang. Chipping away slowly but surely, down by 6 now.
And you still have to be taking these aggressive swings, knowing I can utilize the block. I've got a first year in the front row. I know I can utilize those hands as a way to score for my team.
Booth set up and a quick strike.
And I love that play that she ran. That's what they call a rip. You bring your outside hitter inside the court, and it opens up a range
Ogita pokes it over. Diving Reed gets under it. Innes, Booth's got to send it over. And Wake Forest gets it off what I believe is a net violation.
It was, and throughout that point, lots of amazing efforts from Barrier in the back row. And at the front row, you get too excited. You want to get the best block you can to help out your defender, but just a little too much there.
Dova's trying to finish it. She does. Senior Sunday in Charlottesville. And it's Virginia taking it 3-6-1.
And this is such a special win for the Cavs.